Hi folks, I'm Stephen Woodward, co-editor at the UnpluggedGamer.com. Now stay tuned for your review. Alright folks, let's talk about Marvel Dice Masters from WizKids Games. This game is very similar to Couriers, which the designer of this game also designed Couriers. It's also just a little bit of Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone if you've played that on the iPad. Those games are kind of mixed in with this. You are essentially battling another opponent, and you're using characters to fight on your behalf. So the story is you're a mastermind controlling these characters. And it uses a dice building mechanic like Couriers. You have a base set of die, and you also need to get a die bag to keep these die in. The one that comes in the game is not very good. So you'll put the base set of die in your bag, and each round you're going to draw 4 die. And what you're trying to get with these die initially is energy outcomes. And so, for instance, this roll that I've made right here, I've got 2 lightning type of energy, a shield type, and then any type I want with the question mark. I can also get a fist type of energy. And for instance, each turn players draft their teams, and I'll cut to my team here in a second. But let's take a look at Iron Man. The Iron Man card here has its own die in play, and what I do is purchase. You can see the purchase cost of Iron Man is 4, and he's also a shield type character, and so this character costs 4 energy to get in play, and one of my type has to match his type. So I've got a shield type. I spend 4, put it in the used pile, and I get to purchase an Iron Man die. So the next time, once I've used up all my 8 die and I get them back in the bag and I draw these guys again, I'm now rolling with Iron Man. And as you can see here, let me zoom in a little bit, you can see that you don't just roll the character Iron Man, you also can roll energy. And so now I've got, if I can count, 5 energy that I can then use to purchase other characters, like Mr. Fantastic costs 5 to get in play, or other characters cost, like Doctor Strange costs 7, version that I've got of him. So if I rolled, for instance, if I rolled this version of Iron Man, there's different levels, there's 3 different kinds of Iron Man you can roll on the die, and you can see it's represented by the custom symbol here, the chess symbol. He costs 1 to get in play. That sign right there is the cost to get in play. His attack and defense are on these other corners. So it costs 1 energy, any kind of energy, to get him in play. So now I push him into the field zone. Once he's in the field zone, I can then decide, do I want to attack by moving him up to attack another opponent, or do I want to hold him back for the next turn so I can use him to defend? That's always the decision you'll have to make when playing this game. Do you want to attack, or do you want to hold back and use him to defend later on? These other 2 energy can be used to get other characters in play. I can also do this. Let me show you the action cards, which I think really the strategy of this game comes down to, are you going to get in characters or action abilities as well, because they can sway the game, I've found. Like for instance, invulnerability, great for keeping characters alive, and it only costs 2 to get in play. So what I do is I spend these 2 energy. I've got 2 left over. I'm going to purchase this die and get it into my pool. I can't use it this time, but let's say all these are mixed up. Next time around, I roll. This exclamation mark means I can then use the ability of the invulnerability card. Each game, you're going to have 4 action cards to choose from. And 2 of those you bring to the game, 2 your opponent brings. Generally, like a tournament match, you're going to have 8 characters to play with, although you can do less. I think the starter game is like 4. So, it depends on what kind of game you want to play and how many cards you're able to have with you and your opponent. But the die look great, and as you can see, like the Spider-Man die, each character has its own custom design on it, or Captain America. It's all very cool. Doctor Strange and Thor. The production on the die is great. I wish they'd put in more time to the getting a better dice bag, but then again, you know, they're charging very little for the starter set, so I can understand, you know, trying to cut costs. Also, it's very important that you get a play mat. I just printed this off online. You can get it on I think the Dice Masters website, WizKids website. You can easily print it off. I just put it into a plastic file folder. Okay, so here's why I love Marvel Dice Masters, which I think it's a very cool idea. I've never played Couriers, so I really don't know how similar or different those games are, but I have played Magic and I've played Hearthstone, and I can tell you that I enjoy this game more than I do those games. And part of it, I think, is just the fun of rolling die. It's just a lot of fun to do that, and you feel the ability to purchase die with energy. You get the sense that you're accumulating, you're building a team, and that the game has a natural progression to it. You become a lot more powerful as the game goes on, and there's a lot of strategy in terms of what you're going to have. Well, first, so there's a lot of strategy in how you're going to build your team. You want to have low energy cards, enough high energy cards, because the game can really turn on whether you're able to get certain die in or not. And the action cards bring a lot of strategy to it. And I'm really excited to see where this game goes. I think it's a phenomenal first start. The way the pricing structure is very cheap, low-cost entry. It's only $1 for expansion packs, and I think that's genius. And as more expansions come, I'm really excited to see how they expand the universe, and maybe even I would like to see the art maybe change a little bit. I would love to see, because you have like 4 or 5 different Spider-Man cards, they just have different text on them. I'd love to see different drawings for Spider-Man. You know, if it's a different version of Spider-Man, let's see him doing something different. They've got all the comic art to draw from. I'd love to see them incorporate that in. Other than that, there's really no other criticisms I have, other than what I've already mentioned, is the dice bags, which I think are horrible. And I don't know, they were just cutting costs, I'm sure. But overall, highly recommend Marvel Dice Masters. Head on over to theunpluggedgamer.com and check out our review, where I go more in depth about why I love this game so much.